Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.
Hi everybody, welcome again to Sportsline Trivia. And we're here on a Monday night or Thursday night if you're watching on cable TV, Comcast Channel 190. The day after, a couple of big and important ball games in the NFL yesterday. Mike, I know
Yes.
probably what's on the mind of most of the callers tonight anyway. So
And the games were all dogs this weekend. I didn't like any of them. They were all not good. But that's the bad news. The good news is that the two best teams in each conference have made it to the championship game. So I think.
would you consider
I think we'll get
New England and Seattle?
Well, New England against Denver and Seattle against San Francisco.
okay,
I think those
all
are the
right.
two best teams in each conference. So
In
I
each
think we
conference,
have.
okay.
I think we have. Not necessarily the four best teams, but the four best teams, the way the system is set up, I think we have that. So, at least we should have two decent games coming up on Sunday. I think we will.
And I'm hoping it's Denver and Seattle. That's the way I would like to have it play out. But I'm underdog, am I not?
That's fine. No, your favorite.
Oh, okay.
No, you got both.
Denver favored over New England
Certainly.
by what? 4?
It's 4.5.
Okay.
And Seattle is 3.5 favored over San Francisco. At Seattle. Seattle has not lost at home this year except for one time.
What's your opinion of Kaepernick?
I love him. I think he's very entertaining. That's what I said.
He's got that extra
1 o'clock, I said, I'm going to sit down and watch Cap run around for 3 hours. That's basically what it is. I don't know. He may drive me crazy if he was my quarterbacking my team, but some of the things he does. But he doesn't really do dumb things. And, I think it's really interesting. You have the new guard with Kaepernick and Wilson, the two young guys in the NFC game. Mm-hmm. And then you have the two old guys, the old guard of Brady and Manning for, I believe, the 15th time playing against each other in the AFC game. So I think if you have good quarterbacks, like the Russell Wilson's not playing so great right now, and that's the only thing that would kind of, if I was a Seattle fan, I'd be a little bit concerned about is that their offense is really kind of sputtering other than running, and I don't know how much running they're going to do against San Francisco. So.
All right, folks, when you call, we're going to give you an opportunity to win a prize on the program, and that's basically by answering a trivia question, which is your option, and you can win every other week at your household address. And when it comes to the grand salami for the big prize or the mystery profile as well, you can only win one of those in a month or even try the mystery profile, but once a month. Time limits, 15 seconds for the multiple choice, 20 seconds for the grand salami, and the mystery profile is clue by clue. First-time callers get more than one prize, and if you've not called us in a year, and we do keep track, we call you a first-time caller. Trivia answers are available on my website. It's doubledribblebob.com, and I also have a radio show that airs every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on Sports History and Sports Nostalgia, WAVL at 9:10. One of the stories coming up for this week, sad to say, you remember San Diego's only appearance in the Super Bowl was 95?
Yeah, they beat the Steelers in the championship game, yeah.
Right.
In a rainstorm here and a warm day, kind of like today.
Yeah.
A little bit.
They lost within a decade 8 players from that.
I've heard about that.
Including
Junior Seau recently.
Yeah.
But there are a lot
One was hit by lightning.
Oh, just some strange...
8 people from a
you gotta
53-man roster.
And these are young men. Think about it. That was 94.
And they all died before they were 45.
Right. That was 1994, so that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
That's not even 20 years ago, and you figure
amazing.
they're in their 20s, and like you said, a lot of people dying in their 20s and 30s. It's really,
That's crazy.
It's really too
8.
bad.
Anyway, they did somebody did a, I don't know how they do this, probably with a computer, but the odds of that happening, of 8 people dying from a 53-man squad, was 1%. One chance in,
Wow.
Anyway, let's take a look at rules and regulations on, we did that, didn't we?
did that.
Okay, yeah.
We did that.
Okay, break time. Let's take the break. We're coming back. Couple of callers on the line, ready to go when we return. Back in a flash. Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
For over 38 years and 3 generations, Arnold Furniture has been the area's favorite furniture store.
We have over 4 floors of living rooms, dining rooms, recliners, bedding, carpeting, and so much more. You'll always find friendly personal service from one of the family.
And our prices consistently beat the competition. Plus free local delivery and free setup guaranteed. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
And again, folks, good to have you with us tonight. Nice to have you here on the program. Let's go to Tony. As usual, our leadoff caller. Tony, good evening and welcome.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Good, Tone.
Gentlemen.
Somebody walk in?
Yeah, somebody must have walked in. I saw them. Hey, Robert.
Yes.
Guess who I went to see this morning? Our favorite guy at Community Audit Center.
Oh, Mike.
Yep, I had a little bit of a problem, so, hey, where else am I going to go? I go down there. He looks at the problem, says, I know what it is. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Gives me the bill, I paid, and guess what? I walked out with both my arms and both my legs.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
Yep, he does a heck of a job. But and he's like a bloodhound. He doesn't, say, oh, well, it's this, and, it's okay, go ahead. No, he stays until he finds it, he fixes it, and then you leave.
He bends over backwards. I know that obviously they're closed on a Sunday, but Saturday they try to close at noon. And how many times I know that the guy stays till about 3 o'clock.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Just
right.
trying to
You're right. Yep.
satisfy his customers, so.
No, if somebody pulls in, he's closing, he'll stay open for you.
Yep.
Yeah, because, hey, that's the way
thank
he
you,
is.
Tony.
He's one of the nicest guys I've known.
I'm going to pass the word along that you complimented.
Yeah, okay, you
Mr.
tell him
Mike
that,
at
please.
Community
'Cause,
Auto.
he deserves it. And the 4 teams that are going in is the 4 teams I hate the most. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you pick between them?
Hate. What do you mean hate?
Huh?
There's
Somebody said that.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
Hey.
I mean, I don't even know. I guess I just hope that they're good games at this point because I really don't have anyone there that I mean, if any of them, like I said, I like San Francisco a little bit, even though Harbaugh is just a complete maniac.
That's who I don't like.
He's a complete maniac, and I don't know, I don't mind Kaepernick that much. He seems like he's a good kid, but other than that, I like Russell Wilson too, but I have no use for Brady, even though Brady's completely thrown his ego out the door and said, "Look, I'm just going to hand it off." Which you say what you will about Belichick, but you talk about tailoring what you have. What you do as a team, your offense or your defense, to the players you have. He certainly does because they have no players. I don't know how they're there. They have Tom Brady and a bunch of guys named Harry. That's basically what he's dealing with.
Now,
Well, I found out finally how he operates. because the chiropractor I go to, he played for Pitt.
Okay.
One of the guys he played with was with the Steelers.
Well, you can give his name,
he was
by
there
the
4
way.
years. He said, I didn't learn anything in 4 years. I couldn't figure out the defenses they were talking about. I couldn't do anything. He said, so finally they cut me. And I promised God, he said, that, I'm going to study like mad if I ever get another chance. Well, New England picks him up. And he said they go into the meeting, and Belichick comes barging in, and he looks at this guy and says, what do you know about your coach? Not me, your coach on defense.
Right.
And he said, luckily I studied. I knew everything. I knew how big he was, 6'2", he weighed 200-some pounds. He had a wife, 2 daughters or something like that, bada bing, bada boom. He said, from that day on, I was in with the Belichick. But he says what he does, he'll pick up guys, they're cut from other teams. He brings them in and he challenges them. He said that he gave me, they were going to play, what was the Indianapolis Colts, and when the Manning was there.
Right.
He said after the game, we played the Sunday before, while I was in the locker room, he came up to me and says, I want to know every, those all of that he calls, I want you to study that for a week. Go into the film room and look it over, and I want to know every time he changes a play what he's changing to and that. And then he says I have to go in on a Friday to the team like I was a coach and explain when he calls these audibles, what kind of formations we're going to be in, how we're going to change it, everything. And he says he does this to every player. He says, and he challenges them, and he said, the next thing you know, these players, he says, it's something you got to see. He said they just change.
Well, it's amazing that, you say he obviously wants smart guys. And,
yeah.
And that's really what he's dealing with here. That you got to put the work in, and it's not necessarily out on the field. It's in the film room, a lot of it. And I've heard a lot of stories about the guy, about how meticulous he is, and if you watch him on game day, much more so than any other head coach I think I see in the NFL, he is hands-on.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the defense. He's there, and he's the one running it, and he's got the pictures, and he's teaching, and you can tell that he loves it. And as off-putting as he can be to the media or the fans or whatever, you could tell he loves what he does. And if you catch him and you catch an interview setting with him, I caught the one he was interviewed by Cowher this week, and I couldn't even believe that was Bill Belichick. Because I think it was because of the respect he had for the person that was interviewing him.
Well, that's so. Then also he cheated the heck out of Carr, and Carr didn't even know the difference.
Well, yeah, I was going to. My thought was, how can he sit across from him and not want to reach over there and pop him? They might have cost us another Super. But
that's what I have against him.
Yeah, you and me both. But I have a whole lot of respect for him and how he coaches his football team. Because if you just took 53 players that he has, they have no business being here.
No, but I mean, but he does it. And then this morning when I looked in the paper, I seen what the spot was. I started breaking my piggy bank open. 6 points.
What's down to 4.5?
New England, 6. Oh, well, I just got. Well, I got the Valley.
Right,
it was 6 points. You mean it's down now?
Yeah, I see 4.5. I have the Vegas.
Oh, you know why? Everybody jumped on that.
Everybody took those points. Certainly.
Oh,
You're going to give Tom Brady 6 points? Are you kidding? Yeah, exactly. Well, and if it was the other way in the other city, you'd do the same thing. If New England was 6-point favorite over Denver, you would you're going to pay Manning 6 points. I'll take them. That's the way that works.
And what really impressed me, how they turned over from an all-passing team to a running team, scored 6 touchdowns on the ground.
Oh, they just pounded it. It was.
Oh my God!
And how about this, Tony? The new NFL, right? The new NFL is passing. All four of these teams run the ball. All 4 of them.
You know what that does to the television networks, by the way?
Yeah, well, hey, as long as it's a good game. It's like, it does my heart good to see defense being played and teams run the ball, because you can throw all this newfangled stuff in there, and the passing game's more sophisticated, mainly because of the studying that you're talking about. How they study it and they could do it. But it still comes down to the guys up front. Whoever wins the battle up front is going to win the game. And you saw that with San Francisco and Carolina yesterday.
Yeah.
San Francisco whooped them up front, and that's why they won.
Yeah, I was surprised by Carolina. I mean, it looks like they wasn't even in the game. It seemed like they were.
It reminded me of you remember '92, Cowher's first year, and the Steelers won the division, and they had the home field advantage, and they won the #1 seed. and they had to bye, and they had to wait. Buffalo played at home against Houston and won that big comeback game. And they came into Pittsburgh, and the Steelers never had a chance. And that's exactly what that game reminded me of. You had the inexperienced team that waited a week and really didn't know what playoff football was against a team that had been to the Super Bowl, had been to 2 championship games in a row, been to the Super Bowl the year before, had come in, and it was, it was a man against boys thing yesterday.
Yeah, there was a big difference. You could tell right away.
And
they got the experience now, so that's a lesson learned.
Well, you'll see if they can. I figure they'll be about 6-10 next year, and Rivera will get fired. and that's how quickly things change in the NFL.
Oh my God, in the blink of an eye.
And
the way it is.
That if they get off, I look at Houston and the Redskins this year. These are 2 playoff teams a year ago, and by midseason, their coaches were dead man walking.
Yeah, isn't that something? Well, who knows? I don't know what to say about that.
I'm already liking Tampa Bay in that division next year, but we'll wait and see.
Hey, that's right. Show me the money.
4th place schedule and a pretty good coach and a nice coaching staff he's putting together.
Yep.
And
yep.
a lot of talent on that team too.
What and when? You just they have to play as a team.
That's it.
You got to stay away from injuries. That could destroy you. I don't care. You could have the best team in the world, and you lose a starting quarterback or running back or defensive players left and right.
It's key guys. Yeah, you got to make sure that every team has a handful of them that they can't afford to lose, and it probably varies by position, but depending how good they are at what. But
they were dropping like flies in that game yesterday.
Oh, they were.
Some of them games.
Physical, very physical.
That was unbelievable. But oh well. Hey, that's what football is all about.
All right, Tony.
That's football. So.
You ready for trivia?
Ready for trivia. Getting rid of me already. All right. I don't care. Yeah. You know what?
He's thinking.
I'm laughing about something me and Bob talked about.
Oh.
But hey, we're both so dumb about it. Well, and Bob will know what I mean. But anyhow, I can't see you, Bob.
You'll see us Thursday when you watch us. We'll watch us back.
Yeah, but you know what I feel like doing tonight? How about if I go for multiple choice, and if I win, I want to donate it to the first lady that calls the show.
Good.
Would that be all right?
How about that? Now, the call is out there, ladies.
Ladies.
You call and you don't even have to answer a trivia question.
That's right, but you can too and win your own prize.
You can win your own. You call and talk to us, and if Tony gets this right, whatever the prize is going to you.
That's right. Don't forget that.
Can I
and please mention it during the show about the prize sitting out there.
We will.
Don't forget it. All right, go ahead.
Can I do this one? I love this question because it's a Yankee question.
Yeah. Boy.
Here we go. Here we go.
Another team I hate. Go ahead.
I know you do. Okay. Not to mention A-Rod. Maybe we'll get them later.
Fraud.
Who was the first player to reach 3,000 hits as a New York Yankee? The first New York Yankee with 3,000 hits as a Yankee.
As a Yankee.
Lou Gehrig, Derek Jeter, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle. Those are 4 pretty good names, Tone.
Oh, you better believe it. They were all good hitters. How about Jeter?
Jeter is correct. We have a winner.
There you go. So the first young lady.
All right.
One of my all-time favorites.
Could be any age.
There we go. So
all right. So
we have a prize
Bob,
waiting.
You can give me the signal on Thursday.
Okay.
You remember?
I do.
All right.
All right, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Have a great day, guys.
All right.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to take a break here before we get to Mark, who is next here on the show. On the telephone, standing by. Let's take that break. Mike and I will be back in a moment. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
there once was a hungry road that wouldn't let drivers get very far. It wore out their tires, forcing them to buy new ones. Then along came the Michelin Man, who proved the right tire changes everything. With long-lasting tires in place, those drivers were back on the road to saving money. Drive longer with the Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
You know, when you're shopping for a pre-owned vehicle, it pays to go over to Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox, because you've got 3 indoor showrooms. And I'm telling you, they are fantastic as far as showing off what they have. Tower Auto Sales is a full-service facility with an experienced staff. They do feature Lexus products, but they've got others too. Just buy it at Tower Auto. Call Mike Fanto at 412-828-6202. We are back. Don't forget my Saturday radio show, 10 o'clock on WAVL. They're 910 on the dial. And we're going to be talking about that San Diego team that lost all those players. We named them all, by the way.
Okay.
In the upcoming episode. Let's say hello to Mark. Mark, I hope you weren't working.
Oh, no, I'm on daylight for a while now until they change. So
Sweet.
I got a reprieve. Hey, Mike, or Bob, have you ever seen the Denver game yesterday? Do you think if San Diego would have wore earplugs, they wouldn't have jumped offside so much?
Well, I'll tell you what, that
I
made me
couldn't believe
think.
that.
In fact, didn't it happen two out of 3 plays or twice
It happened
in succession?
And it happened,
Yeah.
and there were 5 of them.
But I mean,
No, but
I couldn't. His cadence or whatever. What? You're not allowed to bob your head that much, but you're allowed to change your voice, right?
Omaha. Yeah, exactly. It's like he said the word Omaha more. I don't know if earplugs would have done the trick or not, but they need to do something. And I said this yesterday while I was watching the game. No one else on the offense can move around like that. Why should the quarterback be allowed? Bark your cadence with your voice. You don't need to be throwing your hands and pointing to the 53's the mic, 53's the mic. You don't need to be doing that, pointing at it. Just yell it out. So he needs to be stopped, and they need to pass a rule there.
I mean, I guess as long as he's getting away with it. I mean, he must have the the best knack for doing that or something.
He does, and it worked. I mean, how undisciplined is that? I mean,
yeah.
I could see you jump offside 1 time, but 5 times, and like Bob said, 2 plays in a row once? Come on.
Okay, and then going back over to switching from the pros, do you think what is your opinion of the new coach Penn State got then from Vanderbilt to Franklin?
He looks like the kind of a guy they need and they would like to have. I'm here to stay. We don't know how deep that promise is, Mike, and it's hard to trust anybody anymore.
My over-under's 3 years on that, by the way. But I think just looking at the football aspect of it, I think they got the best guy that was out there.
Because Vanderbilt was a horrible team for years, weren't they? Before that, they weren't that great.
A couple of good years thrown in there, but not much. I mean, and he did a terrific job there. And the only thing, everyone's going to have their detractors, and people are saying, well, he never really beat the high echelon teams in the SEC. But here in the SEC, you win 8 games. That's you're doing well, and especially at a place like Vanderbilt, where let's face it, that they don't take just anybody to come in there. You have to be at a certain level academically to even be considered to go to Vanderbilt. And so I think as far as a coach goes, I think they've done very well for themselves, and we'll see how long he decides to stay. The buyout's only $5 million for the first year, and it took 2 years to get O'Brien's buyout down to $5 million, and this is starting there, and by the end it's at $1 million. So if the NFL comes calling, he'll go too. But
what is it? Public record knowledge now. What's his salary? Is it supposed to be out in the open?
It is, because it is a public institution. It's between $4 and $4.5 million a year.
A year, okay.
Which is in the top. That's in the top in the country. I mean, by the way, I thought they were supposed to be de-emphasizing football there. I thought that football wasn't going to run things.
Or are they
anymore.
supposed to have a change on their ban from bowls or games and scholarships? Was that supposed to go another hearing this year?
Well, I don't know. I guess the NCAA, I guess they do whatever they want, but they had reduced they had reduced some of the sanctions going into next year, but there's still 2 years left on the bowl ban. They wouldn't be able to go to a bowl until 2016, and the scholarship numbers are going to start to build themselves back up, but they're going to build themselves up faster than they would have originally when, the original.
Now, since they're banned from the bowl, does that also eliminate them from the share of the pie for the Big Ten also?
I believe it does. I believe that was actually written in there that that they cannot take any of the bowl money since they were on probation, and so they aren't.
Well, it hurts all the way around. By the way, speaking of the salaries, Paterno, what was his max when he coached at
That's
Penn
a
State?
great question. They finally got it published. They tried not to let it get out, but it turned out that it wasn't anywhere near what people thought it was.
No.
I don't even know that it was $1 million.
I was going to say, was it something like $500,000 or $750,000, and then he'd donate so much back?
And how much he donated
and they
back
want
to
you
the
to get it back,
university?
exactly. And frankly, and all this stuff, we know that the football coach, or depending upon what school you're at, the basketball coach is going to be the highest paid employee of the school. I mean, the highest paid employee at Pitt is Jamie Dixon. That's that, and Pitt has basically become a basketball school. So, and that's the way it's going to be. And I understand that the athletic director at Vanderbilt, in a last-ditch effort, said, "Look, we'll give you 10 years, $50 million." And he said, "It's not about the money. I want to go to Penn State."
Wow. Okay, well, I guess I'm ready for multiple choice. I'm taking up enough of your time.
No problem. My turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, next question in order for Mark. And here we go. Since the wild card Major League Baseball system began, who has played in the most games without being in the playoffs? Your options are Adam Dunn, Barry Bonds, Tommy John, and Deacon McGuire.
How about Tommy John?
No, Mark, it was Adam Dunn. In fact, there was an article a couple of weeks ago about his, they would sure like to see him get his dues because he's gone.
Trade him to the Pirates so he can play some first base.
I'll go with that. Hey, thanks, Mark, for the call.
Okay, you guys have a good week. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
By the way, we have an excellent question today, or mystery profile. I got to tell you this. I called Mike this afternoon, and I said to Mike, I'm going to try this one out on you if you have some time. He said, yeah, go ahead and shoot. Can I tell him the results?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I hate to say this, but this is one of the very few times that I stumped Mike on any of the 4 clues that we gave.
Here were my answers. Number 1, I have no idea. Number 2, I really have no idea. Number 3, I have less of an idea. Number 4, I have no clue. I believe those are my 4 answers.
Probably.
So that should really line them up for everybody to come in and give that one a shot. But
Well, you know what? Some people, only because
some people like a challenge.
I've had this story on my website at one time, and I think I also discussed this at a couple of the speaking engagements that I've had. I mentioned
and we used to
this one here on number 3.
Right, we used to arm the audience with books.
We don't do that.
We don't do that anymore, which reminds me, I have a couple I want to bring in to add to the library. I had forgotten to do that. I won't be here next week, so I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to make myself a note, tie a string around my finger so I can remember to do that. But I do have a couple that would probably help us out around here when it comes to the library. If maybe we have a day when I don't have the computer or something and we need the books, but I do have some. But we used to arm you folks, and that made it really difficult to slip anything by you.
Yeah.
So now it's hard with the internet.
Tougher.
The internet, everything's there. You can find it. It's just knowing where to get it.
Let's go to Limo Man here on the phone. Limo Man, welcome to the program and
Okay,
Happy
guys.
New Year.
Good
How are you
evening.
guys?
Okay.
Carlos Beltran going back to the Yankees.
He's going back to New York City. He must really like it there.
$45 million.
Yeah, well, that'll make you like it. Of course, the cost of living is a little higher there than it is most places, but the Yankees, I think, are on their way to trying to become the oldest team in baseball history, and so far it's working.
I guess. Wait a minute. I got it. Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez.
Limo Man, can you get closer to your phone? We're having trouble again.
Yeah, I'm having trouble. Nancy Lopez.
You hear me okay?
Go ahead.
Nancy Lopez, 45 years old.
I met her once. She was very nice.
Yeah.
She was pregnant.
How about Eusebio Silva Ferrero died?
And who was he, Limo?
He was, according to the newspaper, he was very big with Portugal soccer.
Oh, how about that? I did hear about him.
Portugal what?
He's a soccer player.
Soccer player.
I had heard about that, but I wasn't. I'm not too familiar with international soccer. I know who Rooney is. That might be about it.
Bart Starr is 80 years old.
Who is that?
Bart Starr.
Oh, Bart Starr. We were talking about Ray Scott earlier this evening before we went on the air. The kind of, you think of Bart Starr, you think of Ray Scott doing the Packers games back in the '60s.
And countdown to kickoff.
Right, that's correct.
Yes.
Hey, Limo, I have a question.
Greg Maddux and Glavin are now inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, Maddux, Glavin.
Boy, how many Gold Gloves did
Thomas.
Maddux win?
A bunch. He was a great fielder.
Jeez.
And next year, John Smoltz is up. And Bobby Cox is going in, too, so it's going to have a decided Atlanta Braves flavor. Limo, while I have you, did you hear that the Phillies fired Chris Wheeler and Gary Matthews?
No, I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear this. I saw a note late last week that they have the new TV contract with Comcast, and Chris Wheeler has been doing Phillies games for over 30 years anyway, back into the late 70s, and he was
along with Harry. I don't know why.
Yeah, he and Harry did not get along, and what I wanted to tell you was that I read a poll online about do you disagree with the fact that Gary Matthews and Chris Wheeler, and you could do a vote and click on each one, and the overwhelming majority of the people that responded were happy that Chris Wheeler was fired, and the consensus was that because he had some sort of an ongoing feud with Harry Callis, that the people sided with. You're not going to win too many battles with Harry in that town.
Yeah.
And the people had sided with Harry in the battle, and that
I used to ask Harry, but he would never tell me.
Yeah, and eventually they did. They went for many years that they wouldn't work together.
Well, let me give you one, not in the press box, but the Tinkers to Evers to Chance.
Right.
The shortstop and the second baseman didn't talk to each other for like 30 years.
Holy mackerel.
The span that they played together, there was an incident where one of them had when they left, he didn't get a ride home or something, and it was something stupid like this. But they brought them back to do a Cubs game, and in the press box they had an emotional reunion where they forgave each other.
It's kind of like when David Letterman got Sonny and Cher back together. Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you know about Daniel Richter?
No.
Daniel?
Richter. R-I-C-H-T-A-R.
No, don't know about Daniel.
Mount Lebanon coach passed away.
Oh.
Oh, Mount Lebanon, yeah.
Yeah. Where the rich Jews reside.
Huh?
In Arnold, it's the rich Italians, like Tony.
Tony would be happy to hear that he's rich.
And
he already knew he was
84
Italian.
Years old. And Mike Munchak is in now at Penn State.
No, Mike Munchak might be into Detroit. He didn't even get an interview at Penn State. They didn't even want to talk to him, and he's kind of making the rounds now in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to get a head coaching job or not, but he did get interviewed in Houston by Bill O'Brien, oddly enough, to maybe be the offensive line coach. If this guy doesn't get a head coaching job, the Steelers need an offensive line coach. That's somebody they need to talk to. I mean, this guy is he's a
player that used to be with the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know why the Steelers didn't try to sign him.
Yeah, there are so many questions that we have about Steelers moves here recently, and that's, we just throw them all in a pot and see which ones we can come up with.
Andy Koufax now is 78 years old.
That's hard to believe.
Okay, Bruce, you ready for
Mac Zuzak? You remember him?
No, he might be before my time.
Matuzak?
John Matuzak?
Macuzak.
No, I don't know him.
What's the first name?
John.
Yeah.
Oh, John Matuzak. Is that who it is? Okay.
Yeah.
He was from Freedom, Beaver County.
How about that? All right, we got to go to a commercial, Limo, so let's do your trivia, huh?
All right, I'll take multiple choice.
Let's have it. All right, Limo, this is college football. Here we go. What college football team has been to the most Rose Bowls? What college football team has been to the most Rose Bowls, the most times? Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, or USC?
I'll say USC.
And you will say correctly, Limo. They have been to 32 Rose Bowls, Southern Cal, and won 23 of them. Most of those under John McKay, Johnny Robinson.
I hate to bring this up, Bob, but no pizza. You already
Pete
sent
Carroll.
Don't tell me what to give you. You get what we send out.
I know, but I'm not allowed to eat it all the time.
Doctor's orders.
All right.
Thanks,
All right,
Limo.
Bruce, thanks for the call.
All right,
Let's
thank you.
take a break, and we're coming back in a flash. Stay with us. Since 1914, the local area has relied on the Resevich family of funeral homes in deepest times of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley, now 100 years strong and still doing things right. Its reputation and unquestionable service now continues with a fourth generation. The Resevich family of funeral homes, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road in Lower Borough.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
And Mattio's alive and well. Boy, they are doing great guns at that location on Broadview Boulevard in Brackenridge Heights. Everything on their menu is made with quality ingredients. They've got great people working for them, and you'll love their menu. Hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs, hoagies, calzones, strombolis, wingdings, and a lot more. And, of course, their signature sandwich, the Iron Man Hoagie. Call Mattio's Pizza and Subs, 724-904-7312.
Bob, I have a list of the head coach openings in the NFL. And,
Okay.
and I get to fill one in live on the air right now.
Go ahead.
The Tennessee Titans have hired Ken Wisenhunt to be their new coach, who up until late yesterday afternoon was the offensive coordinator in San Diego, and
now that they're done.
Now that they are finished. Now, the word had been that it was going to be coronated the new coach of the Detroit Lions, that apparently they had settled on him. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in the interim, while he was unable, he couldn't be interviewed at a certain point because he was still playing, and they have different rules when you can interview coaches. But apparently, the Lions now really liked what they heard from Mike Munchak, who we were just talking about, which, by the way, would just be a terrible mistake by the Lions. But this is what bad franchises do. Bad franchises make bad head coach hires. It's like, what are you doing that for? Now, Whisenhunt has been to the Super Bowl. He was a good coach. He was here in Pittsburgh when the Steelers won one of their Super Bowls, and then the Steelers beat him the next time they were there. So Ken Whisenhunt's going to Tennessee to replace Mike Munchak, and it's very possible that Mike Munchak might be now the front runner in Detroit to replace Jim Schwartz. And we're still waiting on the Browns, who apparently were the first team to fire their coach, but still have no idea what they're going to do. And they supposedly talked to Munchak also, but they've run 4 or 5 guys, maybe more than that, in there for interviews. Minnesota still also is out there, but they supposedly have honed in on the Bengals defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. Jay Gruden, the Bengals offensive coordinator, was hired by the Redskins earlier since we've talked to you last. So these are starting to fill in a little bit, but the breaking news is Ken Whisenhunt's going to be the new coach in Tennessee as we continue to recycle.
So those are the 3.
That's what we have going right now. Yeah. So there's so Detroit, Minnesota, and Cleveland are still open. That's it.
Okay. And again, folks, our number 724-236-0430. And Tony, who took a shot at a multiple choice and said, if I get it correct, I want to give the prize to the first female caller on the program. So the prize is already out there. All we need is for a woman to call the show, give us your first name and your hometown, and we will send out the prize. Okay, that's it. Okay? Let's go to studio participant here tonight.
Hi, Mr. Paul. It's been a while since you've been here.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've been here at the same time.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. You were talking about Cleveland's looking for a new coach.
Right.
Since they hired Chuck Noll in '69, they've had like 16 different head coaches.
Yeah.
I hate to count how many quarterbacks they've had since then.
Who, the Browns?
Yeah.
I think the Browns have had 16. The Browns have probably had 16 quarterbacks in the last 5 years. So
let me give you a number. They were talking about Brett Favre, and since he became a number 1 quarterback with, among others, Green Bay and wherever else he's been, over 200, I think it's 238 different quarterbacks have had starting roles.
Started again.
Can you imagine that in his career? I think the number was like 238 starting quarterbacks have come and gone during his career.
Well, you brought up the Browns. The Steelers, as you mentioned, Paul, hired Chuck Noll in 1969. Yeah. They've had 3 coaches since 1969. When the Browns hire their new guy, they will have 3 coaches in the last 3 years.
Well, that's
and then and as I said, it's funny because you watch, and the same bad teams make the same bad decisions and hire bad coaches. It's a perpetual thing that when you have a bad organization, it's almost like you can't overcome it.
And I know the older you get, the more taxing a job like that can be. But I always liked Dick Vermeil. I wish that guy were younger. I'd like to see him back.
Dick Vermeil. I thought he did a great job too.
Yeah, he came out of coaching because he retired because he wanted to be with his family.
Right.
And then he said, well, everyone's working and going to school. There's nothing to do. So he wanted to come back, and then he won with the Rams. So it goes,
And how long was he out, would you say? I mean, he left
5 years?
At least 10,
more
than 10.
Oh, okay.
And when you talk about Cowher, or John Gruden, a couple of guys that the first calls people make are to those 2 guys, and they say, no, I'm not interested.
Right.
And has it been a year since the big rumors that Cowher was going to return somewhere and coach?
Well, heck, it was even with the Redskins this year, supposedly, that there was supposed to be contact, but there was never any cooperation to those.
Yeah. So what is happening in D.C. now? I mean,
they're a mess. You know what? They seriously are. The Redskins are a mess. Ever since Dan Snyder's owned the team, they haven't been able to figure it out. Right. They've tried just about every avenue to get a coach. They tried a former successful guy like Shanahan. They went the coordinator route. This time they went with Gruden. They went with the hot assistant when they went with Norv Turner. They go with another hot assistant now with Jay Gruden. And they wanted John Gruden. That was the first call. Bruce Allen's the GM, the son of the former Redskins coach, George Allen. And he had a previous working relationship with John Gruden in Tampa Bay. So with all those, with all those things together, that the first call was probably to John Gruden. He said, "Hey, why don't you talk to my brother?" And then that's probably how that got rolling. And so I don't know what the formula is to pick a coach, but the Steelers have done pretty well, and they've used this formula. They've gone with a young coordinator, a young assistant coach in their 30s, 3 times in a row. Right. That each time that all 3 of these guys, Noel, Cowher, and Tomlin, were not 40 years old when the Steelers hired them.
Now, is it true, by the way, now I'm not sure about this, the youngest guy to win a Super Bowl was not a Steeler coach, am I correct?
Boy, I'm not even sure about that.
I thought it was Tomlin.
It might be Tomlin.
I was looking at an article somewhere, and I did see youngest players, youngest coaches, and I looked at that coach list just briefly, and I thought, I'll be darned, because I too thought that
maybe Tony Dungy. If
it wasn't Dungy's name, but we're going to check it out.
We'll check it out. By the way, Dick Vermeil retired from the Eagles after the 1982 season,
right?
And he took over for the Rams in 1997, so he was out 15 years.
Wow,
that's a long time.
And how long was he in St. Louis? About 5?
5. 4 or 5. He did his contract out, figured he was done. He said it was about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. He resigned. He said, "That's it, I'm retired." He said it took him 2 weeks before he realized, I just made the biggest mistake of my life. That he knew he still had more time, so he went to Kansas City and actually had a pretty decent run in Kansas City for a few years.
Then off and on TV work he did.
I loved him on TV. When he was with Brent Musburger, was the best.
Yeah.
Brent Musburger, Dick Vermeil on ABC. I used to love those days.
The good old days.
Yeah. Paul, you going to do some trivia with us? Or are you
going to try the mystery profile.
You're going to go? Uh-oh. By the way, we have Susan. I don't know the last name, but Susan is on the line with us. We're going to get to her as soon as we finish up with this mystery profile.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Can I have the pleasure of doing this one, Mike?
Sure. By the way, Mike Tomlin is the answer. He is the youngest coach.
He is the youngest.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Thanks to the Google machine. Go ahead, Bob.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay. I'll see if I have an idea.
Okay. This is clue number 1. If you get it on this one, Paul, you have $100 in prizes coming. All right? I have played in 5 Super Bowl games. I could have been in another, but I had an injury and could not play.
5. Joe Montana.
No, let's scratch that one.
It was better than Montana. What I did.
Your second clue, I was recruited by Army to play football, and I went to West Point Academy for 2 weeks before changing my mind, and he headed elsewhere.
Roger Staubach?
No.
No.
All right, now we're down to $50. My great-great-grandfather was the bandmaster for Colonel Custer. Custer was defeated at Little Bighorn, and his great-great-grandfather happened to be there, but because he only had a bugle, they sent him back away from the battle because he had no way to defend himself.
Oh, God.
Paul's got that look in his eye.
I have no idea. I'll pass on this one. I have no idea.
Okay, now we're down
Please,
to
Mr.
25.
Custer,
I don't want to go. Here we go, for $25. I was also related to the late daredevil Evel Knievel as a third cousin.
These are obviously all known facts. I'm really glad Tony didn't.
So he has to be what?
I'm glad Tony didn't get this one.
I know, Troy Aikman. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I am currently the kicker for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh. I have no idea.
Are you ready? We're going to show you the answer. Looking at the screen, here we go.
I know people are screaming the answer.
Yeah, they are. And this happens. It's like watching Jeopardy and you're yelling the answer at the TV, and it's like, yeah, sure.
Give it a shot.
I have no idea.
Okay, here we go. Here's your answer.
Adam Vinatieri.
Adam Vinatieri.
Who I believe will be in the Hall of Fame someday.
Yep. Okay.
Kickers don't make it very often, but I think he's going to be one that does.
Morton Anderson
is up this year.
Yeah.
He could go. He could make it, yeah.
Paul, thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
have a
you
good
coming over today. Let's take a break, and then we're going to get Susan on the line with us.
We can.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we'll give Susan a break. The phone is probably warm in her ear.
Absolutely,
Okay.
from listening to us.
Now, we got to make sure that Susan gave us her last name and address. Am I correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Good.
fine. And phone number, just in case. All right. Susan, welcome to the show.
Hello, Bob.
Hi. And what's your hometown?
I'm from Arnold, Pennsylvania, and my brother Mark is from New Kensington.
Oh.
There we go.
Well, I don't blame Mark for calling you.
No, I don't either.
No, I watch your show once in a while when I
yeah.
have time.
Well, good for you. Well, we will pick from the multiple choice prize level a nice gift to send out to you.
Thank you very much.
And Susan, it's always great to have a female on the show, and I wish more would call because there are some out there.
We need to publicize and do a ladies' night.
I got to tell you what, yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be good.
We had some company over the weekend, and somebody popped a sports question, and my wife butted in before I had a chance to
How
answer
about that?
anything.
Yeah, that's.
And she said,
Who do you think's been the brains of this operation?
and when it was all over, I said, would you like to do the show with Mike on Monday night?
Exactly.
So anyway, let's, Susan, thank you for the call.
Okay, I do have one question.
Yes, please.
About basketball.
Sure.
Did Pittsburgh ever have a pro basketball team?
Yes, they did. They had, in fact, I did a story on this for my website. They had in the 70s the Pittsburgh Pipers or Condors, same
The
team.
Condors, I think, were later. I think the Pipers might have been first.
Okay, and then they had the Pittsburgh Wrens, and it was not WRENS. It was short for Renaissance.
RENS.
RENS. And in fact, somehow Pete Maravich Sr. was involved. Press Maravich. And he's the guy that fathered Pistol Pete.
Right.
But Press Maravich was around. But Pittsburgh has had at least 3 professional teams.
Right, and they were interesting. And the movie The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, that doesn't count, if you ever saw that. I love that. Love that movie.
Anything else, Susan?
No, that's all. Thank you.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Stay with me. Mike is going to give you one more multiple choice.
Come on, go get.
So
let's do it. You
I'm
had a
going to
call.
put you down,
Let's
and
do
if
it.
you win this one, you get another prize.
You're going to have a double tonight. Here we go.
First-time caller.
This is a football question. It's multiple choice, so you have a shot. What quarterback has attempted the most passes in one game? What quarterback?
Oh, you know what?
In a
It's a
Super Bowl
game.
Okay. What quarterback has attempted the most passes in one Super Bowl game? Here are your choices: Jim Kelly, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Donovan McNabb. I'll read them for you again. Jim Kelly, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Donovan McNabb.
Jim Kelly?
Oh,
that's correct.
My gosh.
You know why? Because she went local.
Susan's cleaning up here tonight.
Jim Kelly threw 58 passes in Super Bowl 26, and you know that's usually not a good thing because if you're throwing 58 of them, you're probably losing.
You're behind.
And that's what happened with the Bills 4 times. But Jim Kelly from East Brady, Pennsylvania, a local, a man that knows Harry Beckwith personally. He's our winner.
Hey, I can't tell you how much we enjoyed your call.
Thanks, Susan.
So we hope, Susan, you do call back, all right?
I will. You have a good night.
Appreciate it.
You
Okay,
too. Thank you.
We're going to take our break. Mike and I will come back and wrap things up right after this timeout.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Years of experience at the same location. Now, they'll help you with the selection of your next pre-owned vehicle, and it's got to be a dandy. Check them out. Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox. Just buy it is their slogan. Call Mike Fanto at 412-828-6202. A couple of minutes, Mike, and you were talking about Pitt.
We have good news and bad news about Pitt. Rich from Cheswick called last week and was asking about Dron Johnson. And he wanted to know why he didn't play in the North Carolina State game, which was the previous Saturday. And I had no information on that. I thought that maybe it was just, coach's decision to get flow of the game. Well, it turned out he had the flu that night, and he came back and had a couple of good games this week. Until Saturday when he blew out his ACL and he's out for the season. Not only is he out for the season, he's out 8 to 12 months, and he may not even be ready to start next season. So that's a tough blow for him, and that's pretty much their sixth man or one of the first 9 that they could play 9 or 10. So the rotation's going to have to change up a little bit, and somebody's going to have to take his place. He could come off the bench and hit threes for you, and so they're going to miss him. But the good news for Pitt is that they swept through the first week of ACC play. They're now 15-1. Only Syracuse has a better record than them in the ACC now, and Pitt is ranked.
I was just going to ask, where are we?
For the first time this season, in the coaches poll, they're number 21, and in the AP poll, they're number 22, and I believe in the AP poll, they're one spot ahead of Duke now, because Duke has started to fall a little bit. We'll see how that works. Duke will be here later on to play Pitt this year, so the beginning of their ACC play is doing well for the Panthers. Did you catch any Penguins over the weekend? Or this week they're all late,
no,
and it was like, these were toughies.
I caught some highlights, but not the game itself.
I thought it was interesting that the Friday night game, was it Friday? Yeah, the Friday night game against Edmonton. And they blew a late lead and then lost. And Rob Scuderi, who's been around and he's not his first rodeo, said that they're going to need to stop playing like the Harlem Globetrotters if they expect to get anywhere. Which I thought was a very interesting.
Good comment.
And I think it means, here's my question to you. Don't you think it means a little more when that comes from a player than it does even if it comes from the coach. And Scuderi is a respected guy in that locker room. When they came out and tightened it up the next night in Calgary and had a nice 2-1 win, and they are 17 points ahead of the Rangers and the Capitals on my road to being 10 points in the clear by the time they go to the Olympics. So hopefully they can keep.
Do you know if Colby Armstrong is still playing?
I don't know what his story is. He had a 3-year contract with the Canadians, I believe, and then he was with Toronto for a while. He was in Montreal last year when Mike Therrien was there because Therrien had liked him. He coached him in the minors. He coached him here in Pittsburgh, and he liked him. But I have not seen him in the NHL this year, and I don't know the answer to that question.
We're going to have to check.
We are going to have homework.
Okay, folks, thank you for watching here tonight. It's been a pleasure. Mike and I have some games. If you're watching the program on a Monday night,
maybe I have time to look.
I have a doubleheader on Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. Let me get my ducks in order.
They're so hard to remember.
Okay, wait. Let me go to Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I've got the Deer Lakes girls and Borough girls on Tuesday night. If you're watching this Monday, that's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Channel 190. And then on Wednesday, I've got a doubleheader starting at 8 o'clock. First game belongs to the Borough and Deer Lakes boys teams. And then the nightcap, a game that went overtime, St. Joe's losing to Riverview. And I got to tell you, one whale of a game. Mike, we're running.
Colby Armstrong's playing in Sweden.
You're kidding.
Fax Joe in Sweden. Colby Armstrong. That's where he is. Right. One of my favorites.
Plug a game that you're.
If I could remember when they would play it, I'd be more than happy to, but we're running out of time.
Okay. All right. Got to go, folks. Thank you for watching. Again, Happy New Year. I'm Bob Tatter.
I'm Mike Pavlik.
So long, everybody.
Thank you for watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.